everyone, welcome back to Melissa's Kitchen Table. Today I'm going to show you how I make bacon cinnamon rolls. Now I will have a link down below for the cinnamon roll recipe so you can get the ingredients and all of that and the time, temperature, everything I'm going to show you. But I do add bacon to ours. So to start out, you want to butter your pans. Of course, you could do this a little bit later, but I just do it to get it done and over with. And then in a bowl, I'm going to whisk together 2 cups of warm milk. And you don't want it too warm. It needs to be between 110 and 115 degrees, I believe. You're going to put a ½ cup of melted butter. And again, you don't want that to be too hot because you don't want to kill your yeast. So that's why everything has to be at certain temperatures. Alright, and then we're going to mix the sugar in. We're going to use a ½ cup of sugar. And like I said, I'm just showing you how I do it. All the exact measurements and everything will be in the link for you. Just going to whisk this together. Okay, to this, we are going to put 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast, which I believe is also 1 package. I have bulk yeast here that I keep in my freezer, and you just sprinkle this over the top. Now you're going to let this sit for about a ½ hour in a nice warm spot. So you can put your stove on. I'm actually going to let mine sit in our dehydrator. It has a proof setting, so but you could just put this put your stove on, put it on top of that, or if it's a nice warm day out, you know, whatever. It's kind of cold here still, so we're going to let this sit for 1 minute. And then we'll be back. Okay, so after a minute, we're going to add 4 cups of flour to this. And you're gonna mix this real quick. You could mix it by hand if you want, but I already have it in this bowl, so I'm gonna use the dough hook. Okay, so that should be good. You just need to mix it. It doesn't need to be perfect. Because now we're going to put it in, we're going to put a towel over the top, and we're going to let this sit for 1 hour in your warm area, whether it's on the stove, in a dehydrator like I'm going to be using, wherever it is. We're going to let this sit covered for 1 hour, and then we'll be back. Okay, so our dough has risen, and to that we're going to add 3/4 of a cup of flour. So here's a ½ cup, and about 1/4. And then you're going to add, let's see, 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And we're going to knead this until the dough is no longer tacky. Whoa. this off to the side. And in the meantime, I'm going to do the mix for the inside of the rolls. So let me get that stuff. Okay, so I unfortunately ran out of brown sugar. I have about 1/4 cup of brown sugar, 1/2 cup of white sugar, which will be fine. And I mix my cinnamon in with this. I just like it better that way. However you want to do it is fine. You're going to need 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. Well, that's about all I have left. That worked. And so 3/4 cup sugar, 3/4 cup of butter, 2 tablespoons of cinnamon, and probably about 1/2 cup of bacon crumbles. So that means you either can just buy the bacon crumbles like I did. I got it at Costco's a while ago. You can keep them in your freezer. I'm not going to use all of this. We'll see. I'm not sure. This is probably about 1 cup, but we'll see. Or you can cook and cool your own bacon. My guess is it's about 1/2 pound. But like I said, use as much as you want. You can use nuts, or you could use just this recipe for cinnamon rolls. You are going to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Now this calls for 2 round cake pans, which I don't have. So I'm going to start with this square pan, and I'll see if I need to use another one. I'll butter it and use it if I have to. No big deal. And, oh, I forgot to add the vanilla. Oh, I'm sorry, that's for the frosting. So, I did not. Alright. So, you're going to knead this dough until it's not tacky anymore. So, it needs a little bit more. We'll be back. And I believe the directions do say, even though it's still a little tacky, don't add any more flour. It'll dry it out. Just to knead it until it's ready. Okay, so it actually does say to make sure it's nicely floured, and that way it'll help too if it is still sticky, which I think this one feels good, but this way it doesn't stick to anything, so that's good. See if it'll come out. All right. Gonna knead the dough. It's nice and warm. So try to make it to a bit of a rectangle. That's what we're going to roll it into. You want to roll it to a 1/2 inch thickness. So you want to try to get it into that rectangle shape, rolling back and forth as needed. Typically, you want to work from the middle out either way. You don't want to be doing this. That usually doesn't work too well. You want to try to get the ends square so you don't lose too much dough. All right, so we are now going to spread 3/4 of a cup of softened butter on here. And that's the oven. Probably want to wait a little bit to start it, but I'm going to actually let this proof for another half hour, but I'm going to let it proof on the oven. So it's okay that I started it early. It's hard to get this whole dough in the shot, so I'm doing my best to show you. But you're just spreading it out all over everything. All of it. I guess it's not quite as soft as it should be. My house isn't very warm, I guess. But I think we're still in winter in Connecticut, so even if it is the middle of April. Oh well. Okay. Now to this, I'm going to add the bacon. And again, this, you want it to come all the way out, all the way around. I'm probably going to use this full cup. I think so. Spread it out the best you can. And then sprinkle with the cinnamon sugar. Again, all the way to the ends. It looks like a lot, but it's a lot of dough. It's going to make a lot of cinnamon rolls. And this is what's flavoring the entire thing, so. Perfect. All right. So then you just start rolling the ends up like so. If you could wipe any excess flour off, do so. And just keep going. It's such a nice soft dough. It really is a nice dough to work with. And I don't know if you could see everything I'm doing. Okay. Whoops. Try to make it as square as possible. And now, I'm going to cut this in half so it's easier to work with. Alright, so I cut it in half. Oh, let's see. So, cut it into 7 pieces. I'm just going to cut it in half again. I think that's easier. And then again. And again. I think that just makes it easier, personally, my opinion. And if you are cutting on your counter, be really careful. You don't want to cut your counter. But I don't have a cutting board for this, so. Alright, and now your pan. And then you're going to take these rolls and just stick them in tightly. They'll pull apart after, no big deal. And I might be able to get all of them in here, which would be nice. I think so. And then we're going to put all of these in the dish. And we're going to let this sit on top of the stove. I'm just picking up the excess sugar for a half hour. I'll show you what they look like before I put them in the 350 oven for 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, so the rolls stayed in for the full 25 minutes. Those are all set. And then over here, we're going to make the frosting, which is 4 ounces of cream cheese, 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 tablespoons of milk, teaspoon of vanilla, and 1 cup of powdered sugar. And let's see. I already dirtied my 1 cup measure, so I'm going to use a 1/3 cup measure. You don't have to use milk, you could use water. We'll add, you could also add a different extract if you like. I think I'm pretty much out of this. I'll have to get more of that. And 2 tablespoons of milk. And you don't want to add too much milk because then it'll be too watery. Start this on low so powdered sugar doesn't go everywhere. You could also not add cream cheese if you don't want a cream cheese icing. You could just do butter. Put it on while they're still warm. It'll soak into them. Okay. Just use a spatula or a spoon. Okay, and then just start smearing it on. And just let these cool a little bit, and then you can serve. You can serve warm, you can serve cold, however you want them. If you don't like as much frosting, you can use less. However you want to do it. All right, so I'm just gonna let these sit for a minute or so. And then I will cut them up and show you what a plated one looks like. I'll insert a picture. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe and share, and I will talk to y'all next time. Bye.